I'm going to be discussing the way that learning principles are enacted in the game Skyrim, which is the most recent game in the Elder Scrolls series. It's a game where you can take your character in many different directions, but the main storyline is that you are the Dragonborn, the only person who's capable of defeating the dragons that have been returning to Skyrim after having been gone for a very long time. There's also a civil war going on, which you can choose to become involved in, and there are 5 or 6 other guilds that have whole quest lines, so there's quite a bit of different directions you can go in building your character. Learning in this game definitely involves playing with identities and having real choices, which is principle number 8, the identity principle. Players can be good guys, bad guys, some combination of the two through the choices that they make. The quest line you're seeing here is part of the Dark Brotherhood quest line, which is quests for assassins. There's also a guild called the Companions, which is more strictly heroic, and there's also a whole line of quests where you're being a sorcerer, and there's a little bit more ambiguity as to whether you're doing good or bad things with that quest line. And players can also choose between the different quest lines that are available, doing some that seem like good guy quests, some that seem like bad guy quests. So there's a lot of negotiation about what kind of character you are, and this is left very much up to the player of the game. The quest we're watching right now, this is part of the Dark Brotherhood quest line, and it displays the regime of competence principle because this is an assassination, but it's more complex than the other ones in the storyline so far. Not only does this man, who is in a public area, need to be killed, but his body needs to be hidden as well, which is a new development in this quest line. The regime of competence principle is that learners get ample opportunity to operate within, but at the outer edge of their resources, so that quests are difficult. Each new objective is difficult, but not undoable. And the Elder Scrolls has some unique ways of meeting this. In Skyrim, for instance, the difficulty of bad guys and of each challenge automatically gets more difficult as you continue and as you gain levels, so that no matter what order you do the quests in, there will be a remarkable connection between your level and the difficulty of the quests. So not only do the quests become more complicated in each storyline, but no matter where you go next, things will get more difficult than they were in the past. The discovery principle is really important in Skyrim, and this is a principle that overt telling is kept to a minimum, and players learn a lot through their own experimenting and their own discoveries. There's almost nothing that's told in a direct tutorial in this game. And this player is using some very advanced combat techniques that are really only learned through actually playing the game, through trying out different combat scenarios. He just moved to the other side of this character, knowing that the bad guy would have realized the arrow came from over there and would immediately turn towards it. So he's going to continue using this technique of firing an arrow and then moving away from where he fired it, allowing this soldier to go away from him, revealing his backside and allowing the player to do more damage because this bad guy doesn't know that he's there yet. You will occasionally, in the middle of the screen, see a partially open eye, which means that the soldier's still trying to find him but hasn't yet. We have another example of the discovery principle here, where the player is approaching a fortress from the back, as opposed to going through the front door, which the enemies inside are usually better prepared for. He's found a guard tower, and after going up this tower, is getting a layout of where the different soldiers are inside before he moves in and starts trying to make his way towards his objective. The dispersed principle is that meaning and knowledge is dispersed and it's shared with those outside of the domain or the game. And this is illustrated by this particular video, actually, which is created by a player who has made quite a few different videos showing off his abilities as an assassin. And in this particular video, he's been challenged by someone in a YouTube thread to try and make it through this entire fortress here using only 10 arrows and using one of the weaker bows in the game. And there are some other restrictions on him, but this is, as he takes you through this stage, he discusses different combat strategies and the methods that he uses to not get spotted by any of these soldiers. He uses a combination of magic, potions, and battle tactics to successfully kill everyone in this fortress without ever getting fully spotted. So this is an example of both a tutorial and an exchange of knowledge that's happening on YouTube. In addition to the resources such as videos on YouTube, there's an Elder Scrolls wiki, which has a whole section devoted to the game Skyrim. And just like Wikipedia or any other wiki, it's built and added to by different members of the community who have different information to bring to the table from Skyrim. And it helps with everything from knowing where to get certain items to fixing certain bugs, of which there are quite a few in Skyrim. This dispersed knowledge, of course, makes gamers insiders. The player in this scene has become a producer, has learned to use software in order to create these videos, and has learned how to teach through figuring out how to communicate with these videos and getting questions and feedback. This exchange of information allows players to be insiders and collaborators in this game. It also encourages the playing with identity, and it encourages players to work at the edge of their competence and to discover things through active ways as opposed to passive ones. I hope you've enjoyed seeing a little bit more of Skyrim and learning about how it enacts the learning principles.
Are out in the streets.